Hello and welcome to another edition of Droppin Baums with me, your host, Corey Baumeister. As always, brought to you by the lovely folks over at StarCityGames.com. Alright, so we are playing my favorite deck. I had a lot of success with this deck on the E-League last week, racking myself up 5 wins against some of the best players in the world. And you know what? I wanted to bring this deck to you, explain some of the card choices that I have made, trying to adjust to the metagame. Moving forward, I still think this deck is in an incredible position. It's so powerful. The amount of disgusting things you can do with Yorion and Fires of Invention, being able to play those like triple spells on turn 5 where you can play something into Yorion, blink out the fires, play another spell with your mana is just absolutely obscene, and I think it's the most powerful thing you can be doing in Standard, and I'm trying to abuse it to the fullest. I cut the Fae of Wish package because I thought it was a bit of a liability whenever you don't have fires, so this is the creation I landed on. I hope you all enjoy it, and let's get to the games. See you there. And welcome to round 1 here with Yorion 4-color Fires. We are on the draw, but this is definitely a keeper. Missing white, but not that big of a deal when we have a decent amount of scries. We have the Omen, some of our most powerful cards against the Karuga decks. Karuga decks are usually Jeskai Fires. I haven't really seen anything else, and this hand looks great against it, so I am definitely keeping. There we go, all our problems are over already. So let's go with the Temple, and Growth Spiral is actually a better 2-drop than Omen here since we kind of already have the pieces. So we're definitely going to keep this one. And we know we don't have anything too meaningful to play around on their turn 2. So yeah, this hand is quite excellent. All right, let's take 2. No real reason. We do have Grazer. So there is actually a reason to play Growth Spiral now, but they could have Mystical Dispute, so it's really not worth it to get that kind of tempo loss. All right, so now we'll go End Step Growth Spiral. Brutal, brutal. All right, so we would have had 4 mana in play now, but I still think it's correct to play around it. Having the extra mana here is not the biggest deal. I don't think we want an Omen now since we already have one. And now, I mean, I guess we do just have to play into it anyways. So, the real question is, what would we rather get countered if one does get countered? And I think it's probably Teferi. They're not really going to draw any cards next turn too effectively. And Teferi also shuts down Bone Crusher, which could target this. So I think Teferi is the best one to lead on. Alright. Now, we can play the Grazer now, just to get that extra land down. Play this. Now we don't really need any more land, so we can kind of give up on the lands plan. We do need a red source, though, so I kind of immediately take this back. Yeah, I think I'm fine keeping this one. We're going to keep that on top. We're going to tick up to Teferi and pass to them. Sitting pretty good here. If we can Elspeth Conquers Death, basically anything here, I feel, you know, quite strong. Obviously, if they just don't play anything, that's not that big of a deal either. Brazen Bar, sure. Just a little tempo play. Now they could go, like, Cavaliers. So Narset is looking a little bit more appealing. So I think we are going to do that. Gonna go with the Narset. Now we get to stop their Cavalier of Flames next turn if they have something like that. Get an Elspeth Conquers Death. We'll go like this. And we'll say goo. And we got the Omen here. Now we're just waiting for them to play stuff. We're just going to ice down all these permanents. And now, almost no matter what they play, we're just going to deal with fires. It's the more important thing. Sphinx, okay. Yeah, we have a nice chump blocker for that, so not too afraid of that. Draw a little bit of cards here. Wow, okay. Just giving up. Just giving up. I mean, they were very dead. They were definitely dead on that point. Okay, all right. So we'll bring in Elspeth Conquers Death, Dispute, Narset, even these vetoes. And now what to take out? Scorching Dragonfire feels really bad. Shark Typhoon is only okay against them, so I think I'm going to trim on that. Inspired Ultimatum, I think we can trim on as well. I like keeping one as just something that you mill over with Tamiyo and then can return it for that kind of big effect. Uro, I think, is fine. We can cut one Grazer, although the speed is decently important. I love the drop kicking Narset. Being able to play fires into Narset, deal with a Sphinx or something like that is usually pretty strong. The real question is how many Disputes and Dovin's Vetoes we really want. And that's a tough one, because I do want to interact, but I also want to be a Fires deck. So maybe we keep all of them and we go down on one Fires because we're bringing in so much interaction. The problem, or I shouldn't say the problem, the one thing about having Fires and interaction, people think it's very, very strange, but you have so many ways to blink out Fires, to return it with Teferi. You know, I mean, that's the main one, to be able to counter something on their turn, but you draw Teferi quite often by the time you want to interact, or you just don't play Fires if you have interaction that you have. So I think I'm okay with this. We just really want to contain their Teferis on turn 3, and Narset, stuff like that. All right, game number 2 with my favorite deck in Standard by far. By far, my friends. This hand is quite medium. Opponent kept 7. We cannot keep this. If this was a temple, we would probably keep, but not worth it. This hand is also quite awkward because we do not have blue. But now the question is, going down to 5, is that better? Because this hand is great if we get a land. If we get a blue, even just one blue land, it's great. We're going to risk this one since we're on the draw. I want to get rid of one of these pieces of interaction. I think Dispute is a little bit worse. So let's go like that. Now, blue in the top 2 cards, and I feel very good. If not, not so great. Leyline, interesting. Don't fear that too much. It shuts down some good stuff we get to do with Tamiyo and whatnot, but not the biggest deal. Alright, that was not the draw we wanted. Blue source, blue source. Okay. Not ideal, of course. Teferi would shut down this Dovin's Veto for good. Ooh, War Boss. Alright, that's strong. Now we need it right now. Oh, no. Okay, well. Punished. Punished. We're still in it as long as they don't have another crazy turn or can interact with the Teferi next turn if we don't draw, or if we do draw the land. Oh, okay, we're done. So 2 kind of non-games so far here. Alright, well, that is just way too late. We can put this back, then we're taking 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we are live, so it's worth trying. Let's bounce this. We can draw something like, you know, white source into one of the few shatters that we have left. It would be okay. But with what we drew here, I don't think there's going to be much hope. Maybe Teferi is going to be able to buy us one more turn. Probably not, though. Okay. Just coming at the face. Yeah, Dovin's Veto definitely not as good against Legion War Boss, believe it or not. Okay, down to 3. Yeah, we don't have Clarions in, so I don't think there was an out. Okay. Those were 2 great games here to start off this week, dropping bombs. Alright, do we want to make any changes in concession to that card? I don't really think so. It's really not that big of a deal on the play. When we're on the draw, it can definitely get us. But, I mean, we do just have so many Elspeth Conquers Deaths. All the Teferis bounce them on time. Disputes are great against them. We can think about some Dragon Fires, I guess, since they do pivot. And maybe Vetoes are just not good enough. They do have a lot of creatures, so maybe we'll reevaluate on that. Let's go with... in a couple Dragon Fires. I'm not totally against it. The problem is all the big creatures that, all their payoff creatures, it doesn't do anything against. So I'm not in love with that. So how about we just go one more Shatter and just that other Fires and just try to do our thing on the play. I like it. I like it. Game number 3 here with 4-color Yorion Fires. Let's see if we can start off on a good foot here. No green, but definitely going to keep this. Even on turn 2, we could just cycle if we really wanted to. This is a keeper, but then of course if we get green, Growth Spiral on turn 2 is going to be very nice. Alright. Otherwise, pretty strong hand. Elspeth Conquers Death is probably the most important card. Narset is a close second. So being able to have both of them here, I think, is very good. Okay. Off to the races. Let's go. So I think I actually want to take 2 here and just cycle anyways. Not a lot of value, of course, but we do want to piece our hand together a little bit better. And if we get this Narset disputed or something, then we're kind of out of gas. So I think it is worth it here to give up on the shark. The shark, actual Shark Typhoon is not that great. Okay, so that was good. Now, the question is, yeah, okay, I think I like this. So we're just going to take 2 and say go. We'll have Dispute open or Growth Spiral here. Okay, so I definitely want to counter that. I don't know why that's showing that it's only 1 mana. But yeah, I mean, getting to... yeah, that was kind of a weird thing. But yeah, definitely want to deal with that. Now we'll jam Narset. And now we're just pivoting way far ahead here. Okay, that'll tone us down a bit. Not too big of a deal. Another one. Okay, we do just get to Elspeth Conquers Death this. We're not going to activate. Not going to activate because I want to Yorion blink it out. So if they have another War Boss, it kind of sucks because they will get Narset and we'll lose the value. But if they don't, Yorion blinking, being able to Elspeth Conquers Death and get a fresh Narset is going to be chef's kiss. Quite nice. And we can Growth Spiral and do that as well. Be interesting what they play, because whatever they play going into Elspeth Conquers Death is not great for them. Elspeth Conquers Death is a pretty good answer to Elspeth Conquers Death. So that one sucks. Alright.
I must stay focused.
So we're going to start with the Growth Spiral. And we'll go like this. Our hand is not developing, that's for sure. But this is not bad. Gonna need to draw something here, or just hope this Narset lives, but like another Elspeth Conquers Death against us is quite brutal. Not too big of a deal. The draw ability is shut down by Narset. Could just bounce it. Yep, that would make some sense since they don't have a great target. Okay, that was a good draw. Now let's hit some gas. We bricked the first time, didn't brick the second. Now, what do we think is more valuable? Narset number 2 or Teferi number 1? And I kind of think it's Narset number 2. Teferi isn't that great except for, well, except for just blinking this. Just bouncing this. Okay, I can kind of see that. So we can go Teferi, bounce Yorion, replay it, blink out Teferi and Narset, and kill Teferi, and have a blocker. Okay, let's do that. So we get to start with attacking here. Yeah, we can't do this play. Can't do this play because ECD still has the active trigger here. So we can still play these two things though, and then just bounce this. I think I like that. So we have to go like this. Now they could mystical dispute this, and that gets a little awkward. That does get a little awkward. We could just Teferi bounce and play around dispute. I think I like that. Okay, let's do it. Okay, bounce this token. Hoping maybe to get some interaction of our own. No such luck. Now their Elspeth Conquers Death coming back down and hitting Narset is pretty bad. Ooh, decides not to do that. Let's see if they're going to discard any cards. No. No. Come on. That might be a shame concede coming in. Now this is still quite strong. So that taking down Narset. We know they have those. Okay, so that was good. I think we play this and try to see if we can draw something good. So we can take 2 and go fires plus Narset and have castle open. That's probably pretty strong. So let's go like this. Narset. Just gonna draw a card here. Discarding a dispute is not great, and dang, it's so punished for playing fires, but I think it was correct. So we get to attack, and we get to make a castle and block. Let's see what they want to kill. That makes sense. Alright, we want to protect that, even if it's just gonna draw us a card next turn. Man, this dispute would have been so good if we just played Narset first. We really got punished on that. Okay, value pump, love it, love it. Shatter's pretty good. Now the question is, do we want to try to keep Narset around? Or just get rid of it? I think I want to just get rid of it. Big draw. It's pretty good. It's actually quite strong. I kind of want to discard... Oh, perfect. I kind of want to discard Uro just to bring it back. And we could shatter an Uro. Plus make a token. Okay. Okay, so we want to cast this. Let him draw a card. No, if we go like this, that still allows us to bring this back. What do we want to leave in our graveyard? Probably a Shark Typhoon. I think that's going to be a great thing to bring back if we do hit a Tameo. So let's go with Uro here. Okay. We'll definitely put this into play. And I already played my 2 spells. So nothing else we can do here. And we'll say go. Now, if we're feeling scared about this, we could always like Teferi bounce it next turn. Sure. Probably Karuga here. Really trying to get max value out of it. I can appreciate that. Alright. Make a token.
Here goes nothing.
Now, to Fairy and just bounce Sphinx is probably better than trying to bounce. I mean, we could bounce Fires. Bouncing their ECD seems a little risky. And if we bounce Sphinx and attack for 7, then we're committing lethal next turn. Okay, so I think I like this. Let's go like this. Bounce this. Another Fires is not what we wanted. Now we can actually cycle here as well. This is the white one. Okay. Make sure Auto Tapper doesn't wreck me here. Okay, that is quite strong. So now let's attack. We may want to leave this back now, just because Cavalier of Flames, or we might have to spend mana for this Narset. I think Narset is more important to get in play. So they can bring back Cavalier. They can cast Karuga and Sphinx for free. And then attack with everything. We have one blocker for that. This is 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 if they top deck a land. So maybe we have to leave this back. We either have to leave this back. Or just make a token here. But I really want to get Narset down, so I guess we just leave this back. No attacks. Let's get Narset. Wow, we've missed on those. And now I'm afraid. Cavalier can come back. Then go Karuga. Luckily, Narset is shutting down all their busted draw abilities. So we're kind of hanging on with a thread, and we've missed with Narset twice, so that is definitely a bit of a factor here. And honestly, it was this Mystical Dispute play. We just absolutely won the game if we just didn't play Fires. In hindsight, because we drew the Mystical Dispute, of course, but I'll be curious what they get. They just get... Yeah, anything else seems bad besides Cavalier to me. It's just Cavalier doesn't have a huge ceiling on it. Okay, let's see if they want to discard any cards. Let's see if they've learned their lesson. They have not. Okay. Now let's see where they want to attack. I feel like they need to get rid of Narset. I really don't want them to get rid of Narset. Alright, we are going to go here, here, let Narset die, get to kill one of these things. Narset's going to die, and then Teferi's going to die. I actually want him to die, though, because then I can bring back Uro. So this is fine. Okay. Take 2. Omen. I think we're going to start with this. Start with Uro. Really want to find some way to deal with Karuga or deal with the board. Elspeth Conquers Death is what we're on the hunt for. Elspeth Conquers Death on the Cavalier would be pretty strong. I think we would just have to do that maybe on the Sphinx. So that Sphinx is going to be a quick clock. Yeah, we need a good draw step here. Just playing Omen is not going to be great. And honestly, it might lead us to be dead. Omen, make a castle token is probably the best we can do. We got a Grazer for future turns. Yeah, I mean, we just got to do this as our second spell. Feels real bad. All right, we really just need to set up an insane turn like 2 Elspeth Conquers Death. Maybe a Supreme Verdict. Teferi is a good start. We're going to keep that. I'm content with that because we can always just like bounce fires to be able to have a little additional turn. So we'll say go here. We're going to make a token as a chump blocker more than likely. Try to deal with a Cav. 2 on top is not great. And I mean, right now, Karuga drawing 4 cards, 3 cards is going to be really bad for us. So there could be a world where we're just dead right now. Elspeth Conquers Death, huh? Hit the fires. Yep. Nine, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We're just dead. Just dead on the spot. Castle was okay, but not good enough. Bummer. All right, well, that's round 1 losing here. So, not ideal to start our Droppin Bombs, but, you know, we missed on Narset twice. I think the biggest play was we played Fires into Narset, where if we played Narset and then drew and saw that we had Dispute, we were able to counter this Elspeth Conquers Death that came down and eventually brought back a Cav, which kind of snowballed the game out of control. And I think that's really where we went wrong. So hopefully we can improve our games here moving forward. Stay tuned for round number 2. All right, and welcome to round number 2 here with Yorion 4-color Fires Control. There's got to be a shorter name, but we're up against an 80-card mirror, so our opponent is very smart as well. So I'd love to go first. This hand is fine. Turn 3 Tamiyo is very good. So we're going to keep this. I'm going to start off Triome here. I think the main reason is I don't know exactly what I want from Temple. I know I want to draw some gas, but I don't know exactly which kind. So we're going to save that for next turn so we get a little bit more information from our deck, aka draw 1 more card. Brazen. Okay. Grazer into Temple. Teferi on top. No, we're going to go like this. Grazer. Get this into play. And put this on bottom because we don't need another land right now. And now we get a nice turn set up. Tamiyo this early is quite strong. They're just going for the ramp strategy, so could be pretty scary. The one problem I fear against these Sultai builds or these just blue-green builds is they have agents. Agents are quite strong against us, but they don't have Elspeth Conquers Death, which I think is the most important card. And that is actually going to be our name here with this Tamiyo. All right, Elspeth Conquers Death, just recognizing this is the best card, and I just want to have the highest chance to find it. Now, Fires being put into our graveyard would have been good too, just because we probably would have returned that. But now we can just like return a land if we want. Nisa, okay.
Which cannot protect itself.
Getting in there with the grazer. Gotta respect that. So we're gonna block. So we could just double Dragonfire Nissa down if we really wanted to. I almost would rather just Teferi bounce a land and then have Dragonfire for the next one. So let's do that. Hope this resolves, of course, otherwise we're in a lot of trouble.
Sorry, I'm late.
So, to be able to Scorching Dragonfire, we do have to return a land. I think that's reasonable. I think we just kind of have to. So let's get this Stomping Ground back. Right. Now we'll put this up. And now we do have the option of omening if we see fit. Now, I'm really afraid of maybe their casualties of war. Something like that here. Seems like what they got. Our lands are being highlighted. That's never a good sign. Okay. Just land and Planeswalker, though. This is about as painless as it could be.
That's how it was meant to happen.
Rise, my elemental friend.
Alright, we get to keep our Tamiyo alive, though. Which is very important. Gotta deal with this Nissa. Dang it. We wanted an untapped land to at least have a chance at hitting Elspeth Conquers Death. We're still gonna name it just because we're gonna need it to catch up here. Well, no. Yeah. Bricks. No, let's go for an Omen to start. See what we can get. Narset's okay, but really I think we just need to find an Elspeth Conquers Death. So we're gonna maximize our chances to do so. Now, if we hit another untapped land, we can double Growth Spiral. So I think it's worth it to do this now. And there we go. I would much rather hit that. Don't need another land. And we'll put this into play tapped. And now we're just gonna hope Elspeth Conquers Death, or Tamiyo lives here. Hope they don't have too busted of a turn. Tamiyo of their own.
I think you will find my notes helpful.
Okay, they could have just got a casualties from the yard. They can definitely do that next turn.
The elements.
Didn't even want to attack first. That seems questionable. All right. So now I guess we want to try to get a Fires. Yeah, I think a Fires would be pretty good here, so we'll try to get that.
I know.
I think we just have to get rid of Nissa here. Because then they don't have a ton of mana. And then we can probably blink this, so let's do that. Our Tamiyo is gonna die. We're pretty positive on that, but then our Yorion should be pretty good here. Okay. Now they can Yorion.
My work. Let me aid your research.
Okay. These are the options they'll be able to have to bring back next turn. So they'll have an active Nissa, which is scary. These Yorion mirrors are just slogfests. They are an absolute grind, that's for sure. Definitely don't care about that. That makes me more want to lean towards killing Tamio, since they can just Yorion again. Excuse me, Uro again. Okay. Pretty tough to want to do anything but a Yorion here. It's kind of our saving grace to get back into this. And I think we just have to deal with Tamio. It just has the hopes of getting so much damage back. So yeah, let's do this. Get rid of these. Bring them back. Gotta get rid of Tammy. Uro is next on the chopping block if we can. Don't really want lands right now. Although another land that turn would have been great. We'd much rather just try to dig towards gas. Okay. Gotta just take this. Okay. Not the worst turn. Pretty decent draw. At least shuts down a little bit of Uro action. Now we really, I think, just need a Shatter. And Narset is our best chance of getting that. Plus, we can, like, make a Shark Typhoon as a chump blocker if we miss. So let's go like this. Well, Narset does discard Shark Typhoon and kills Uro. But then I go down to 5. And then any removal spell kills me? Or Nissa? I mean, it's definitely the pick. The real question is, do I think I can play it? But there's also a chance that maybe we can't afford to not play it. If we think we're that far behind. Do we die to a removal spell anyways? I guess we do. So if we die to a removal spell anyways, maybe it's better to do the higher upside play here. But then I have to chump Cavalier. Okay, so I don't think it's worth it. We're gonna go like this, and then we're just gonna say go. And at this point, if they attack all in, we get a little surprise shark, and we get to eat this, and then go to 2. I don't have high hopes that we're alive through this, though. Let me block. Let me block. Yay. Okay. We live. Now we get to bring something back. No Elspeth Conquers Death in the board. Well, we get to bring back Tamio and then can bring back Elspeth Conquers Death, so that's good. Okay. I think that's got to be the play, is just Tamio here. Growth Spiral had to be done on our turn, of course. Loyalty here. Now, let's draw a card.
Open mind.
Ultimatum, huh? Could get Aether Gusted if they have that. I think I'm just going to take the Shark Typhoon to play it safer. Gonna return. Elspeth Conquers Death.
No terror
5.
should be discarded.
Okay, so we're gonna have... So we can cast this plus a grazer so we don't die to a removal spell anymore. Guess it's the best we got. Unless we go Narset, add mana. Well, we could get Narset and this into play. No, then we still die to a removal. So let's go like this. Hope they don't have main deck dispute. All right, I think we just get rid of Cavalier here. Okay, play a land, play a grazer, and hope to live another turn. But now we're actually turning the corner, so if we live this next turn, then I think we just have a great chance of winning. I'm really surprised they didn't play Yorion that turn. Maybe they forgot about their companion? This feels like a casualty of war. Okay. Very strong, of course. Okay. We can Narset and drop kick this. It's gonna be strong. Let's do that. Draw. Discard this. 6 damage to Uro. Okay. Takes 2. Maybe has a dispute? Shatter could be pretty good. I think that's worth keeping. Because they're going to restock this board. Alright, no Nissa, please. No Nissa, then we get to like start gaining life with this. Tamiyo's okay.
Let us see if your talents are worth cataloging.
Oh wait, Tamiyo is definitely lethal if they have a Nissa. Dang it. Yeah. Can't do anything about it.
Never forgotten.
Dang it. 1 turn away from really locking it up.
We are all connected.
Definitely not locking it up, but getting ourselves back into a winning position.
Be wary of the ground you walk on.
Nothing we can draw off that, so yep, we're dead. Bummer. Okay, well, we're not doing so great on this week's Droppin Bombs. I guess we used up all our good energy on the E-League last week. All right, so let's, this matchup should still be pretty solid just because we have Elspeth Conquers Death. But casualties is a big problem. So let's try to bring in some interaction for that. Take out all our Dragon Fires. I almost don't really want any Shatters, but it's a little risky if you fall behind. I think we can take out Grazers. I think we can take out Grazers altogether. It's not really about that. We really want to go the long distance here. So we need to cut 1 card. I'm kind of leaning on 1 Shatter. Inspired Ultimatums could also be the cut. Yeah, let's do that. I like 2 Shatters. Just a get out of jail free card, essentially, if the game starts swinging in a way that we do not like. All right. I would love to play first. All right, Fires finally. This hand looks great. I'm gonna keep this one. Casualties of War is definitely better against the Fires version. So maybe Fires is not exactly what we want to be, the exact version we want anymore. Oh, yes. Yes, please. Oh, that was a good draw. Allowing us to Fires next turn. Now, I want to play this right away. so it doesn't get countered. I think I'm okay with a land here, but it's not a white land, just in case our fires gets countered. So, because of that, I'm going to put it at the bottom. Alright, just don't leave up Gust mana, please. Sweet. Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to be kind of sacrificing not being able to play Veto here, but we just want to do our thing. So let's start with a Narset. Shut down Uro if they have something like that. Teferi's pretty good here. Now we're just going to overwhelm them with Planeswalkers. And like Tamiyo, we can go Narset, drop kick it. Brutal. Yep. We'll go with Narset. Get a Tamiyo. Teferi bounce this seems smart. Or Teferi bouncing this actually could be really smart. So let's take 2 here. Because I just want to deal with the problem card of Nissa. So what free Planeswalker would we like? Probably Tamiyo and Narset. No, we need Teferi. Okay. So Teferi plus Tamiyo? Or Teferi plus Narset? I think Teferi Narset so I can kill this as well. Let's draw a card. Perfect card to discard. And then we'll go with Teferi. Bounce fires. Have interaction on their turn or Shark Typhoon. And then we'll say go. Now we should just be able to take over. Once again, they're not drawing a card. Alright, now we'll get a 3-3, and this game should be pretty over. Yeah. Yeah, they just fell way too far behind. We got the fires down really early, and it was pretty effective. So now the question is, do we want to change anything on the draw? We didn't really see anything to give us the assumption that we want to change anything. So let's just re-jam. The only thing is we saw Leafkin Druid. So maybe Dragonfire gets a little bit better. But I don't think good enough where we want to make any drastic changes to our deck. So we're just going to run it back. All right. Game number 3. We don't want to be down 0-2 in our Droppin Bombs here. That's never a good start. Happens. You know, happens to the best of us, but we don't want it. So let's win this game. All right. So on the draw, they can definitely have their just absurd draws of backing up Nissa with Mystical Dispute, stuff like that, and we just can't do much. But otherwise, it should be okay. I think this is fine. Uro ramping into Elspeth Conquers Death is good enough. It's not an outstanding hand by any means, but I do not like to mulligan this kind of hand. Okay, Mystical Dispute is interesting. Yeah, let's keep it. Have a little interaction for next turn. Probably counter an Uro. Definitely counter a Tamiyo, so let's hope they lean into that. I'll counter basically anything this turn. Because I really need to play Uro more than likely. Not the greatest target, but I'm even going to counter this. Okay, Teferi we can't cast. This is pretty awkward with our mana base, so we're just going to go Uro. Okay, not a bad draw. Now, if we can get a land and go fires into ECD, I'd feel quite strong about this game. Even like fires into Shatter if they just play like another Druid or something would be pretty good. Alright. A land for ECD is going to be insane. But even fires to Fairy Bounce is pretty good here, so I'm pretty happy with that. The only thing I don't want to see is a Casualties of War next turn. And no matter what, that's going to be good against us. So one way to stop, yeah, unless they don't have a land. Don't want to give them any of those cards back quite yet. So let's go like this. Go with a Teferi. And now we're basically conceding to them that, yeah, if you have your stupid card, we are going to lose. But if you don't, I feel pretty good about next turn. Don't casualties me. Like Nissa. Oh no, they're highlighting the lands. Of course we're dead. Ugh. Okay, that's really, really bad. Getting to get a Narset in play is not terrible, though. 5 cards we can't Uro quite yet. Okay. Do we think we're behind enough where we should try to Omen for a blue-white source, ideally? Kind of. I think I really need to cast Elspeth Conquers Death next turn. So let's try it. This, of course, could backfire, but... Well, let's risk it. Oh! Woo! Saved by the bell. Alright, now we're kind of on for a good chunk of our draws. Alright, let's see if they got another one. We did shut down a decent subset of their draws with Narset here, so that's not the biggest deal. Bottom. Tameo, okay. Probably returning casualties.
Looks intriguing tonight.
And that's not too much we can do about that. We can try to not play into it, but then Tameo lives. So I think we're definitely going to activate this.
Meditate and prepare.
Interesting. That's really interesting. We can just grab Narset here and discard, draw and discard to kill that, and then we're not putting another enchantment into play. I think I like that better. Make their casualties like not as great this turn. So let's do that. Draw, discard. I think I still just want to discard Shatter, even if we got another Narset here. And just play a land and say go. Casualties me. This casualties is not going to be that bad. That's not as great. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now they can cav as well. That's pretty dang good. Yep, now we're in trouble. So we could go like Uro plus a fresh Narset. Uro gets killed by casualties. Could just go Elspeth Conquers Death, deal with Nissa, because it's just adding an absurdity of value, and hope that they don't casualties us. I don't know. I think it's what we have to do here. We just have to get rid of Nissa, get that casualties out of their hand, and hope to draw well outside of that. Now, do we want to take 2 to cycle Shark Typhoon? I don't think so. So they get to kill this, and a land if they want. And if they don't, if they decide not to casualties, we do get to have an absurd turn. So I wouldn't recommend that from them. But otherwise, their casualties are not that great right now. And their Uro, they can play their Uro post-combat, so they can draw a card. That's pretty strong. Oh, that might just be lethal. Wow. Our opponent had other plans here for this game. And they're just going to slap us up with an End-Raise Forerunner. Alright. Alright, well, we're 0-2 on this week's Droppin Bombs. We gotta at least hope to get this last one, so stay tuned for our 3rd and final round here. Alright everyone, here is our time to shine to get a win with this 4-color Yorion Fires list. No companion upstairs, so we got it this time, y'all. I'm gonna keep this. We have blue-green, which is kind of, we only, blue-red, excuse me. You know, so we can cast most of our spells. Fires to be able to kind of go crazy as long as we can hit lands, but Omen should help that. We're gonna keep this. Alright. No companion, though, huh? Alright, let's see what they're up to. Let's say go. Priest, alright. So they just wanted to play bigger cards in their Luris deck. I can appreciate that. I just want a Scorching Dragonfire here, but we're gonna say go. I don't necessarily need to kill this right now. We're like 99% to kill this card, but... Okay, well... Just kidding, I'm definitely killing that card. And they let us know about it first. Maybe we would have targeted the Priest. Should always attack first when you don't plan on doing anything else. Okay, and we hit the land, so we're just going to do the same thing. Dragonfire whatever they play, and just hope Fires can take over from here. Don't really want another land. Yeah, we don't really need one. So we'll say go. Scorching Dragonfire, one more thing, if not Omen. I mean, almost assuredly doing this. Gutter Bones, huh? Let's get this out of here. Another one is pretty good. Alright, definitely the worst draw on the deck there. So we're gonna go like this, and I think I just want an Uro here. Get it in the graveyard, draw a card. If they didn't play that Priest, Narset was gonna be a good play here, but they did. Fair is a pretty good pickup. We can just drop double Planeswalker next turn. Okay. We like that. They must be out of gas. We're still under a bit of pressure. Okay, that's gonna probably seal it up. Alright, so let's go like this. Blue, white, so we can cast Teferi with our mana. So I want to start with Narset or Omen here. We'll start with Narset. We'll blink that out. Elspeth Conquers Death. Doesn't have any great targets now, but still totally fine. And now we'll go with Yorion. Blink these. Hardcast Teferi. Bounce Priest so they can't kill our Yorion. Alright. And just kind of go wild. I love those turns. That's why you play the deck right there. That's why you play the Fires version. So you just get these free mana turns where you just get to triple spell on turn 5, and it's almost always too much for your opponent to deal with. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And now we just got a fresh Narset. Yeah, looking good this game. I'm very interested why they wouldn't want to play Obosh either. Like, it seems like one of them would be something you'd want to play, but what do I know? Alright. Activate. Narset's pretty good. Now the question is, what do we want to do? Do we want to shatter? No real need. So let's go like this. We can discard fires to kill this priest.
Honor the past by bringing its traditions into the future.
Sure. Taking 4. Fires. Kill the priest. Take this up. Don't have enough to bring this. So I suppose we just want to Omen as our second spell. Not a huge play or anything, but... Alright, don't want those. I kind of want this second white. Then we can activate Castle. I think that seems pretty good to me. And then we'll attack. Try to get them dead. And we'll say go. Castle Ardenvale is almost always pretty bad, but there is some applications where a chump blocker against fires, you know, we almost got back into the game because of it round 1. They ended up drawing pretty nicely out of it and went over the top of us. Didn't happen, but it's going to be good here. It's going to be good here, okay? That's an Elspeth Conquers Death target, so we're happy about that. Claim the Firstborn. Okay. Trying to take down some walkers. I'm gonna say no to one of those. Don't care too much about Teferi right now. And that even shut that down. That's pretty mean. Alright, we'll go like this. And at this point, we're just kind of showing off. Let's go with blue. Yeah. I thought they would have conceded sooner, to be honest, so. Alright, not bad, not bad. So, now we want to bring in some removal, Deafening Clarions, Shatter the Sky. They're not playing Luris, so they do have more targets for Elspeth Conquers Death. Now, do we want to play a max full set of them? Probably not. Narset's really bad. Narset Parter Veil. The other Narset's great. This Tameo, we can trim on that. And we could trim one more Tameo. Tameo really isn't that good in this matchup. And just play Elspeth Conquers Death. Could also cage him. But I like one of Tameo. We don't worry about their cat oven stuff too much. We can just really deal with all their stuff. So I'm not too worried about cat oven. And they don't have Luris to really abuse cage. So I don't think it's super necessary. Let's give this a shot. Alright, let's try to win a game on this week's Droppin Bombs. I have been doing nothing but dominating with this deck, and then we played on Dropping Bombs, and of course, you gotta get slapped up then. It's only fair. So we need a land, but we got 2 draws to do it, and then this hand is awesome, because we got the Grazer, so I'm in. Let's keep it. Now, we kept a 2-lander our other round, and it did not pay off, so let's see if we can get double punished. Not a good start, so now we do have 1 draw to hit a land, otherwise we just say go. But otherwise, Teferi bounce their 2-drop, and we're set. Okay. I'll take it. I'll take it. It's not the ideal card, but I will definitely take it. Okay. Now Teferi they can just sack. Dies. Could try to bounce that. I do like it to constrain their mana, so we are gonna do that. We're gonna bounce this. They can have another 1/1, who cares? They time walk themselves by doing that again. I am in. Really would have loved a land. That's okay. We can cast Clarion as well, so even if we don't draw land next turn, we still have something to do at least. Okay, now we're set. Alright, so let's go like this. Fires and Tammy. The Tammy's gonna be pretty good here. I know we took out a decent amount of them, but they're really bad when you're behind, but when you're ahead... Okay, so this guarantees our land drop next turn as well. So now it's just what do we think is the best card for this situation? And they're all so good. Shark Typhoon is our highest chance to hit with fires. I kind of like that. So then that's essentially our third spell. So let's go with Shark Typhoon. We missed, but we hit a land, which is the main thing we want, to be able to return with Tammy and have our Yorion turn next turn. Like, if they play something big, we can go Elspeth Conquers Death, exile that Bastion, Yorion blink it out, exile the next big thing. So if they play a 3-drop, they're in trouble. They're in so much trouble. Okay, so we gotta start by getting our land. Doesn't matter too much. Red, white. So we do need another white source just in case. If we lose our fires for whatever reason, I highly doubt that would be the case. But now let's go this tapped. Start with Elspeth Conquers Thy Death. Now, which one do we want to hit first? Probably Mayhem Devil. Yeah. It's going to be a decent amount of pings. To be able to kill Teferi. Not too big of a deal because we are just going to play another one. Okay, well, actually, we might not. Okay. So let's go like this. And now we could go Deafening Clarion. They'll get 3 triggers with that, but do I really care? Not really. Now we just take everything from them. That's insane. And now we get to Elspeth Conquers Death, this on the crackback. Absurd. Alright, your go. It's a little scary. Thank God we blinked out our Grazer here to have a nice blocker. Do we even care about that? I would almost rather keep my Grazer just in case. No, we're going to block because then Tamio can just bring back the Yorion they're going to sack to fires. And then we can just blink again. Yeah, that's insane. So I do want to try to gain some life at some point here. I think I like bringing back Yorion. Yeah, because we can bring back, like, Deafening Clarion the turn after. So let's do this. Now, let's go with Teferi. Bounce their oven. No point in doing that right now, but whatever. That was awesome. So now let's Yorion. Maybe I don't want to actually blink out ECD. Get to return something. Yeah, I think that's fine to keep that. And now I want to leave open Shark Typhoon. We're going to Growth Spiral first, because all I want this is a chump blocker. just in case they active treason us again. And that will accomplish this, so let's just say go. Active treason oven. We have a nice counterplay to that. Oh yeah, that's a 3-mana oven. It's an expensive one. Alright. Cycle for 1. Okay. We already have a Teferi, so I guess we're just getting back a Grazer. +1/+1 counter. 1/4 Grazer. Okay, now we could like Deafening Clarion to try to get out of range. Or we could just get back Shark Typhoon. Well, let's start with Uro. Start with the free Uro. Yeah, we're just gonna Uro and Uro, I think. That seems like a good one. Three, 4, 5. Make sure we have good targets for Tamiyo. Let's get Uro back. Okay. Now we will just bounce Oven. Play our third land for the turn. And now let's go for Ultimatum here. Inspired Ultimatum would just be the hammer in the coffin here. Alright. And we'll say go. Good luck. Alright. They better have one heck of a turn here. Bam Devil is good. Don't get me wrong. What are we trying to kill?
Hardly my worst defeat.
Teferi down. Yep. Meow. Okay, so can get back Shark Typhoon. So let's start with this for sure. We're for sure going to want to hit Mayhem Devil. And we're just going to get in there. Yeah, that was definitely game. Well, I mean, hey, we, any kind of aggro deck, we definitely saw how good the Yorion Fires deck is. But you know what? Maybe, maybe people are really starting to adjust to the Fires version and, you know, trying to play things that go over the top of it. So let's talk a little bit more in depth. I have some theories as to why maybe we didn't crush it as much as I did maybe in the E-League last week with a very powerful deck. But I think people are catching up, and I got some theories on the reasons that I want to talk about in the deck tech. So we'll see you right over there. All right, and welcome to the deck tech here with 4-color Yorion Fires deck. I just love it so much. We didn't do great today, though. I will not lie. I haven't had a 1-2 and a Droppin Bombs in quite a while. But you know what? I think these games really identified a little bit of a problem. Moving forward in the metagame from here, Standard moves so very quickly, and I think we were starting to see a bit of a shift where decks are prepared for these Yorion Fires lists by being able to also be a Yorion deck that plays a lot of interaction, but then doesn't play Fires of Invention to be able to interact as well as play the same kind of powerful cards. So at some point, Fires of Invention is becoming a liability, and maybe moving forward, if we're expecting more of these 80-card mirrors, that's weird to say still, that maybe, you know, the Fires version is not going to be the best, and maybe we should adjust to maybe Bant without Fires, Maybe Sultai, like we saw, kind of beat us pretty handily. I don't know. But Fires of Invention, the one thing it does do is goes way over the top of these like Lurrus decks, of Rakdos Sacrifice, Mono Red. You're able to play those double spells really early. And I mean, even the last round, we saw like Fires on 4 into something, into the next turn, something into Yorion, into playing something else again. That sequence is almost always too much for any aggressive deck to handle. It's just when we play against these other Yorion decks who are prepared for Fires, and then we're bringing in interaction, we get put in kind of a rough spot. And we did have that one situation against Jeskai Fires where if we didn't play Fires, or if we didn't have it in our deck, we would have won the match because we were able to Mystical Dispute an Elspeth Conquers Death with them only having 2 mana available. So, I mean, right there was a situation where Fires actually cost us a game. So maybe Fires is not the way to be doing this anymore, although I just love the explosivity of Fires of Invention in a Yorion deck. But that is my major critique right now. I think Fires of Invention Yorion is just going to be a metagame call. If you expect a bunch of aggro and stuff like that, it is going to be a better shell than these Bant decks. But yeah, if you're looking to interact with these decks, Fires is maybe not the thing. But let's talk about the individual card choices. This is pretty close to what I played on the E-League with some changes here. No Fae of Wishes in this list, because whenever you don't have Fires, it's really bad, and people are playing a lot of Mystical Disputes. So I don't really like the liability of having a 4-mana blue sorcery in my deck. And I have to ruin my sideboard. I'd rather just play a more cohesive plan and be able to play a good functioning sideboard. And that's what we did here. So 3 Grazers. I never want to draw 2, so I think 3 is the perfect number. We got 4 Omen, 4 Scorching Dragonfires. We were playing Omen of the Forge, but since all these decks are over-the-top decks where we're playing, Simic, Yorion with Agent, Temur Reclamation, Bant Ramp, all these decks that the dealing 2 damage isn't very good, and we're starting to see all these Lurrus decks kind of go down pretty fast. We're not seeing a ton of them. I think people are just kind of realizing it is a Yorion world, not a Lurrus world here. And I think Yorion is the card to beat right now. And the Red Omen just doesn't really help on that matchup very much. 4 Growth Spiral, lock that in. 4 Teferi's also just insane. Obvious inclusion. 3 Narset, Parter of Veils. Really good in these, just good in the metagame right now. They're really bad against Rakdos Sacrifice, and that's like the only matchup that I'm not seeing a lot of anymore. Of course, we just played against it in the last round, but the latter situation is a different situation than a tournament that, people are trying to win. I don't see as much Rakdos Sacrifice doing that well there. The Obosh version that won the Channel Fireball event, that is a different story. I think that's a pretty innovative take on it, and I think that deck is a lot better. 2 Uros. I went between 2, 3, or 1. The card isn't insane, but there's those certain games against aggro, and even just the long-term effect of it against other decks that don't have Elspeth Conquers Death, I think is pretty valuable. So I'm leaning between 2 and 3 after playing a little bit more with this deck. 4 Fires of Invention, definitely the reason to play this type of shell. Now, if you want to switch it up and not play Fires, I don't hold that against you whatsoever. I would probably lean towards the Bant versions, kind of that Andrea Mangucci has been playing lately. My brother's been streaming a decent amount of Bant, Brad Nelson. So one of their lists seems awesome if you're looking to not play Fires. But this is definitely the best Fires of Invention Yorion deck in my opinion. 3 Tamiyo, Collector of Tales. Going Fires into either Tamiyo or Narset is just a stellar play for turn 4 or turn 3, depending on Grazers and Growth Spirals. And then 2 Shatter the Skies. I want some reset button, but a ton of Wrath right now is not super valuable to me because there's not really any aggressive decks in the metagame right now. All right, then we'll move on to our expensive cards. 3 Elspeth Conquers Death. I'm even considering going up to 4. This card was not very good when Lurrus was everywhere because you only had 1 actual target for Elspeth Conquers Death, and that's their Lurrus. But now that that's getting a decline, Elspeth Conquers Death is excellent again, so I could see that going back up to 4. And then four Shark Typhoon. This is a card that has been impressing me to no end lately. Just being able to... It's already good in other decks, you know, Team of Reclamation, other blue-based Yorion decks, it's still great against. But with Fires, it's that additional push where you get an additional third spell, even without playing Yorion. Very valuable. I love 4. I would probably play 5 or 6, to be honest. And then 2 Inspired Ultimatums. I was considering either just like more RAS or other ways to catch me up. Inspired Ultimatum does a lot of catching up as well. It is very expensive and plays into Dispute and Gust, so that is a bit of a problem, but I think it's worth it for the payoff. Let's head over to the sideboard here. We got 2 Grafdigger's Cage for these Lurrus decks, Rakdos Sacrifice. You consider it if they don't have Lurrus, but mainly for the Lurrus decks here. 2 Dovin's Vetoes, 4 Disputes, definitely for these Yorion Fires decks, as well as Team of Reclamation, these decks that are playing these really powerful spells, or can play Teferi on turn 3, you really want to interact with that, or Narset. Narset is probably worse for us than Teferi. Then we got the 4th Narset Parter of Veils against these blue decks that are trying to gain card advantage with Uro, Growth Spiral, Fires. The 4th one is excellent here. 2 Deafening Clarions, 2 Shatter the Skies for our aggressive matchups. Anything that's trying to turn creatures sideways, the Obosh aggro deck, Gruul aggro, Rakdos Sacrifice, any of that kind of thing. And then we got the 4th Elspeth Conquers Death for any matchup where you got some big stuff to sink your teeth into. All right, everyone. Well, we didn't and then of course Yorion is the 15th card in the sideboard there. But we didn't necessarily crush it with the list today like I thought we were going to. But I think the matches, I learned a lot, and I learned that maybe the metagame is shifting in such a way that Fires isn't the best right now, or not the best choice in these Yorion decks. So it's going to really get me thinking about what I'm going to play in E-League this week. I recorded this on Monday, of course, so I got to go do some testing here and figure out what I'm going to play this week. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this week's Droppin Bombs, and we'll see you next week for some more exciting Standard action. See you there.